Thank you for listening to Curious Cat, a podcast that examines this shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. I'm your host, Jennifer Holtz. Join me every week as I explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. This week's episode is brought in part by my angel studies and also by the Eagles song, Take It Easy. I was listening to the song right before I was about to do my angel study of the week, and this lyric hit me right in the heart. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. And those wheels that drive me crazy, those are my thoughts. Can you relate to that too? Jophiel was the next angel in the queue for me to learn about. And she is all about getting out of our heads, getting out of our way, and not giving energy to people that don't really like us, never will, no matter how much energy we put their way, and that aren't our supporters. I can't wait to share Jophiel with you. Let's get into it. Let's begin with basic facts about Angel Jophiel. She is venerated in both Judaism and Anglicanism. Her feast day is September 29th. Her attributes include a flaming sword. Come on, cool weapon. She is the patron of arts and artists, and the name Jophiel means beauty of God. My research shows that it is used interchangeably with Jophiel, which means God is my watchman, as well as Zuriel, God is my rock. Jophiel is associated with beauty, art, and wisdom. Wikipedia says, quote, according to Robert Means Lawrence, and I added, who was an accomplished physician and author from the early 1900s, Arthur de Blesse and R.L. Giles, Jophiel is said to be the angel who cast Adam and Eve out of paradise. Bear in mind, Jophiel, the angel of beauty, wisdom, and art, cast them out of paradise. I'd say maybe she bore witness or even encouraged them to leave because of her connection to free will. I'll explain. And I'm going to pause here for a moment on the basic facts of Jophiel to share Joseph Campbell's take on the Garden of Eden and being cast out of paradise story. Bear with me. It all comes down to free will. And Jophiel, she's an advocate for the free will of every human on earth. I found an excellent essay on the topic online, authored by Julie Gabrielli. The links to the original are in the show notes. Here are some highlights. It's titled Garden of Duality. She says, Joseph Campbell has an interesting interpretation of the Garden of Eden story of Adam and Eve's fall as a slipping into dualism. The fruit is from the tree of opposites, good and evil, yes, but also male and female, light and dark. Before they tasted its fruit, Adam and Eve were one in harmony and paradise. After the fall, we have a dualistic state. We have a separation from nature, and God is also separate from nature. The author goes on to say, I usually think of the Eden story as being about expulsion and exile from the garden or nature, which on one level it is. This dualism is an interesting nuance that my fallen state is to be caught in appearances, seeing myself as a separate being from other people, from God, and from nature. As long as I think it's about getting back to the garden, I'll never find peace in my current state. What if this duality isn't something we humans are doomed for all eternity to struggle against and to try to escape? Maybe Eden, paradise, was a stage in our development. Rather than see everything afterwards as the consequence of a failure, a fallen state, sinners separated, cast out? What if by eating from the tree of knowledge of opposites, we grew up, ready to go out and encounter the complexities of a world of contrast and conflict? And I add, make our own choices, good, bad, and ugly, and actually exercise free will as God wished us to have. The author goes on, not fallen, evolved, because I don't typically see it that way, because I feel shame at my condition and chafe at the discomforts of duality. I am missing its delights. I don't only have paradise now, I can experience paradise and hell and every state between the two, and I am up for it, but not if I try to face it alone. I need other people, my family, relationships, and community, and that includes my relationship with all the beings of the natural world. Eden is within me. Evolution, as Ken Wilber observes, is a process of, quote, transcend and include, end of quote, which means that I carry with me every prior stage of my development. I can access it at any time. I'm not doomed for all eternity to be outside the garden wall in the wilderness looking in with longing to return. Wilderness, wildness is also a part of me. I am animal, part untamed and uncivilized. I am equipped to navigate the rapids of duality. That's why I am here. Rather than try to escape my exile, maybe I can make peace with it, with duality. Eden was where I came from, but I'm not meant to go back there as to a place. It's my past. If I accept this life in duality, what choices will I make? This is my favorite part. Campbell is hopeful again here. He says that systems are a part of being human. We are all part of, subject to, the rules of a system. The question is, are we going to let that system eat us up, or are we going to rely on ourselves and cultivate our humanity? Sometimes this looks like submitting to domination, like in the case of Nazi Germany, versus living in the knowledge that we are essentially free, that each of us is a sovereign, whole spirit and form, and we have a purpose that calls us. As Campbell puts it, heaven, paradise, nirvana is not a place. It's a state of being. We have the ruby red slippers already and can go back home to Kansas anytime. By the way, I wanted to add this. One of the commenters on this beautiful blog post said, I view the Garden of Eden story as a tool of oppression designed to separate us and control us. We are the garden, Dwayne said. Food for thought, isn't it? I've read other accounts of the Adam and Eve story, which seeks to villainize all that it is to be human: sex, eating, procreating, all that, all things of the body, carnal. And they're cast in this light of yuck, of tainted, of sinner, which is the opposite of God seeking to experience themselves as human beings. It's hypocrisy. And to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But back to Jophiel. According to the Sud Epigraphal revelation of Moses, another name for Jophiel is Dinah. In the text, Jophiel is described as an angel of the seventh heaven, a Kabbalistic guardian of the Torah and wisdom itself, who taught 70 languages to souls at the dawn of creation. The Zohar, a foundational work of Kabbalistic literature, which is also a group of books including commentary on the mystical aspects of the Torah, lists Jophiel as a great angel chief in charge of 53 legions who superintend Torah readings on the Sabbath. But as I mentioned in a previous episode about Raziel, this angel is credited with much the same, which is interesting. I'm left wondering if both angels were instrumental in this regard. Jophiel is said to be a companion to the angel Metatron. C.E. Clemens, in her book Angels in Art, names Jophiel as the teacher of Ham, Japheth, and Shem. In the Anglican tradition, Jophiel is recognized as an archangel. Jophiel is often depicted in iconography like stained glass windows as holding a flaming sword, seen at St. Michael's Church in Brighton, St. Peter and St. John's Church in Kirkley, Holy Trinity Church in Coventry, and a mural at St. John's Episcopal Church in Memphis, Tennessee. Some align Jophiel with the planet Saturn, while others say Jupiter. Other sources go even further, attributing the entire zodiac to Jophiel. No matter what, she is clearly a friend of astrologists. Julie Jancis, author of Angels and Awakenings, as well as other sources, say Jophiel is in charge of the cherubim. Who are the cherubim? Cherubim means to bless. They are often depicted in paintings and sculptures as children. These angels are indeed small, but are even smaller than we can fathom. Cherubs are oneness. They embody the feeling of God's love, the Christ grid, universal, unconditional love. They also hold the portal door open so all of us can get into oneness, tapping into the collective pool of unconditional love. They achieve this by accessing the 99.99% empty space in our body's 37.2 trillion cells, that according to Jancis. It's that empty space in each cell, each atom that I spoke of during the God Within episode. The cherubim occupy that space and also surround us in our auric fields. Additionally, cherubim are said to attend to God while also protecting the entrance of the Garden of Eden. In John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost, the archangel Jophiel is depicted as, quote, the cherubim with the swiftest wings. From learnreligions.com, Jophiel helps people learn how to think beautiful thoughts that can help them develop beautiful souls. People sometimes ask for Jophiel's help to discover more about the beauty of God's holiness, to see themselves as God sees them, recognize how valuable they are, seek creative inspiration, overcome the ugliness of addictions and unhealthy thought patterns, absorb information, and study for tests. So really good for you students out there. Solve problems and discover more of God's joy in their life. Jophiel's other roles? She's one of two archangels. The other is Zadkiel, who helps Archangel Michael battle evil in the spirit realm. She's mentioned in old text, including the veritable Calendarium Naturae Magicum Perpetuum, early 17th century grimoires or textbooks of magic. Another mention of Jophiel is in the 6th and 7th books of Moses, another magical text from the 18th century lost books of the Bible that contain spells and incantations. She's the patron angel of people hoping to discover more joy and laughter to lighten up their lives. She's been associated with feng shui and could be petitioned to help balance the energy of your home and create a beautiful home environment. Jophiel can help you reduce clutter. And why am I thinking about the little birds that come and help Snow White tidy up the messy, messy cabin right there? From thesecretofthetarot.com, Archangel Jophiel is known to heal negative emotions and chaotic situations. I've mentioned that she's often depicted in art holding a flaming sword, but it's also a light, some people say. Her energy color, yellow or gold. I read that burning a yellow candle or having the gemstone citrine on hand may be used as part of a prayer to focus on requests to Archangel Jophiel. Her element is fire. It's said when we encounter Jophiel, there will be a golden yellow light known as Jophiel's yellow ray. I mean, that sounds like something out of Star Wars, doesn't it? This celestial being inspires individuals to use their free will to create their own life paths. Her wisdom frees all of us to meet our personal destiny. I'm sure glad we have an angelic advocate in this area, aren't you? Her sword, though, cuts through delusions and personal illusions. It brings us truth and wisdom. Here are some ways to invoke Jophiel. Find a quiet, sacred space in your home and light a yellow candle. Repeat the following, either out loud or silently. Dearest Archangel Jophiel, Archangel of beauty and wisdom, please bless my creative endeavors. Open my eyes to notice the beauty in the people around me and in every part of creation, including myself. Empower me to maintain a clear mind, even in times of chaos, and make my mind orderly and serene. Inspire me to trust in God's or the universe's great purpose for me, and lend me the patience and the wisdom to recognize God's beauty in every situation. Amen. Have you ever worried where your divine messages, either in answer to prayer or during morning minutes or deep in meditation, are coming from? After a quick break, I'll share a great article that helps us to discern the source and smoke out tricksters. Back in a moment.
Hello, my name is Melissa Oatman, and I'm the host of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I'm a teacher, healer, intuitive, and single mom of twins. I'm an empath and a recovering people pleaser. I created Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness to help other people like me learn how to stop living their lives for others so that they could start living their absolute best lives. I cover topics in spirituality and self-improvement, like setting healthy boundaries, working with the archangels, and protecting your energy. I end every episode by pulling a card of guidance to help you get a message to start your day off right. I also interview fascinating guests who cover a wide range of self-help topics. If this sounds interesting to you, then what are you waiting for? Start listening today.
Welcome back. Okay, if you've ever had a moment after receiving what feels like divine guidance or a message from the beyond, this section is for you. I found a great article to help us discern if it's an angel or a trickster that's communicating. When you ask a clear question, tricksters will give you the runaround, basically, never a crisp, clear answer. Tricksters will ask you to give up something for their help, and they start small, building up from little things like a flower or a coin to the sacrificing of your free will or something else even grander. Tricksters evade questions. Trickster spirits don't make sense. Tricksters appear most when you're vulnerable. Smoke them out by asking questions you know the answer to. That's such a clear, straightforward way to smoke them out. And always, always listen to your gut. If the entity that's communicating with you makes your body, the ultimate lie detector, feel off, then let that message go. Drop it like a hot rock. Here's a few other ways Jophiel can aid us. She can help with our solar plexus, the chakra that represents our ability to interact with others. The health of our solar plexus leads to an emotionally stable life. If the solar plexus is blocked, it can cause serious health conditions, including stomach aches, ulcers, eating disorders, and emotional problems. When you note this about yourself and your body, ask for Jophiel's help. Fun fact, the best day to work with Jophiel is Sunday. My beloved soul sis Molly is creating something wonderful I hope to be able to share with you later this year. In the meantime, she gives us this gift, insights about Jophiel. Jophiel is the angel of confidence. Her chakra, the solar plexus, crystals and stones, tiger's eye and citrine, yoga pose, Warrior 1. She is feminine energy. And remember, this isn't about physical gender. Jophiel is eye of the storm energy. Confidence helps you speak up for yourself, helps to connect to the higher self, to learn what you want and need, and then ask for it. Her essential oils: rosemary, frankincense, grapefruit, lemongrass, and orange. One final story I'd like to share before I close is about my experience this last week with Jophiel and the cherubim. As you, precious listener, are well aware, I've been doing Julie Jansis's workbook, Angels and Awakenings, all over again this year. And this week I was studying Jophiel, and now I'm having deja vu, which is kind of spooky. But here's how the structure of the book goes. After you read a section about an angel, Jansis asks us to get into oneness and then ask that angel a series of questions and then write the response. It's almost like automatic writing. The book even gives generous space for us to write those responses. So that particular day, I was feeling pretty worn out. I was salty. I was sassy. I got into oneness, sort of, and asked the first question, which was, what creations want to be birthed through me at this time or in the near future? And then I waited. And crickets. That's what I got. Silence. Thick with sarcasm, I said, "Oh, thanks for showing up, Jophiel. Really, I appreciate it." And within a minute, I felt embarrassed of my tone and I apologized. I heard laughter, high, like the ringing of golden bells. Jophiel said, "I've been teaching you not to give a darn what others think about you. That's true freedom. You need to create using that raw, vulnerable, complicated, beautiful soul. Continue to share stories you collect from others and tell them with integrity." The second question was something like, what small details am I stressing over? Her answer, your dreams tell you, so you already are well aware. From interrupted sleep to physical pain, release all of that in love. It will become a thing of the past in an instant. The third question was, what is the bigger picture of what I am to create that I'm not seeing right now? She answered, it is of a community of people that wish to be valued as they are, for who they organically are, as well as transfiguring fear to love. Endless, she added, as a broad, clear alpine lake. Her response felt a bit cryptic, but it made sense in the days that followed. In fact, in that response, she stated what the entire mission of my podcast has always been, but I've not said it before, to transfigure fear to love. And the key to that is curiosity. The fourth question was, am I a people pleaser? Am I worried what others think of me? How can I see this differently? She responded, your inner people pleaser is dying swiftly. It's been 2 years in the making. You know that worrying about what others think is both toxic and counterproductive. I've been working with you on this, which I thought was amazing because we have been working together and I didn't even know her name until this study. Question 5. What signs, colors, or numbers do you use to communicate with me in life? How will I know when you're around? She laughed. She laughed a lot. And then finally she responded, it's a burst of anger, like a physical and spiritual alarm bell that alerts you that someone has crossed your boundary. I can be more subtle if you like, but this has been working well for us so far. And the last question was, is there anything else you'd like me to know? To which she said, rest, self-care, tune in to you and tune out to others. They will be okay. Her responses cut to the bone. They felt true because they were truth. But now the cherubim, those beautiful, loving angels, the teeny tiny angels in our literal cells. I spent my Saturday surrounded by loving cherubs after a challenging morning. And by challenging, our cat, who is epileptic, had been in a grand mal seizure cycle. And that means startling awake in the early hours to him seizing, making sure he doesn't fall and harm himself. And then after the seizure, usually bathing him, washing the bedding or carpet where he'd been. And in this instance, bathing Cooper the dog too, because he'd accidentally gotten sprayed with cat pee. So not great, right? After I steamered the carpet, exercised, and showered, I actually took a moment to look up and out the windows. It was a glorious morning. A stretch of blue sky confirmed the forecast of 70 degrees and sunny. I had to get my face in nature. There's a mini hike I've pined to do for some time now to the geological marker at Red Rocks. It delineates the 130 million year old rock from the 1.3 billion year old rock, something like that. I put the destination in Google Maps and off I went. The lot for this particular hike is teeny weeny, maybe 7-8 spaces, I guess tops. It was filled. I circled the lot again, and without a flashing brake light in sight, I understood I wasn't going to be doing this first. I slowly rolled back down the hill and my cell phone rang over the car speakers. It was my eldest. I pulled to the shoulder and we made happy plans for the next day. Then as we ended the call, I realized that Mother Cabrini wanted me to visit her shrine first. You see, Mother Cabrini's shrine was less than 10 minutes away. It was another destination I'd felt drawn to see, especially this last week, which had been both challenging and fruitful. As I wound the car up the peak towards her imposing statue, I felt my shoulders relax into the curves. The drive was like a meditation. As I passed the stone house and the museum, I felt lighter, at peace, in the flow of spirit, smiling, electric. If you've ever heard of the song, I Sing the Body Electric, it doesn't make sense if your feet are stuck in the sticky muck of 2D, but it made sense at this moment. I parked in signs, literal signs with wood posts, not intuitive ones, led me to the sacred spring that Mother Cabrini had brought to life with only her pure heart, prayer, and a walking stick striking a stone, if memory serves. The water still flowed today. I sipped some and watched as others climbed a hill to the top of the peak. I was curious. First, though, I walked Mother Cabrini's garden. The pavers, they were arranged in an elongated circle, which a nearby sign told me was meant to represent her rosary beads. I stepped, then contemplated, stepped, contemplated, stepped, and contemplated. Nothing deep came to me during the contemplation, but it was really wonderful. Oh, and Mother Cabrini is in the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame. History Colorado writes about her, quote, Frances Xavier Cabrini, also known as Mother Cabrini, was a missionary nun who was a great humanitarian and a champion of immigrants, children, and the poor. During her missionary work, she established 67 schools, orphanages, hospitals, and social service agencies throughout the United States, including several in Colorado, and in 8 other countries. Frances Cabrini was born in Italy in 1850. She received a well-rounded education, and her first profession was a school teacher. She was fascinated by stories of missionaries and resolved to join a religious order. But as a young woman, she was not permitted to join 2 orders of religious nuns because of her frail health. Frances didn't give up on her dream, and she was eventually accepted by a different order of nuns. Then at the age of 30, she founded a new order of nuns, the Institute of the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and she became known as Mother Cabrini. Her institute established several orphanages and schools in Italy, which had a reputation for scholastic quality and spiritual and character development. The article goes on. In 1902, Mother Cabrini was asked to come to Colorado to assist Italian immigrants, many of whom did dangerous work in the mines near Denver. That year, Mother Cabrini opened a school for more than 200 children of Italian immigrants in North Denver, which was affiliated with Mount Carmel Church. Many of these children had never attended school before. As school enrollment grew, the school moved to bigger locations in North Denver and continued to educate children until the 1960s. In 1904, Mother Cabrini founded an orphanage at a home in North Denver because many children of Italian immigrants were orphaned when their fathers died in mining accidents. As the need grew to care for orphans, Mother Cabrini purchased a larger home in North Denver for 160 children, which she named the Queen of Heaven Orphanage. In 1921, a new and much larger facility was built at the North Denver location. It is estimated that 20,000 girls spent time at the Queen of Heaven Orphanage between 1904 and 1967, when foster care replaced orphanages. In 1910, Mother Cabrini purchased land in Jefferson County, which served as a summer camp for the orphan girls from Queen of Heaven Orphanage until 1967. The property purchased by Mother Cabrini in Golden has served as a shrine in her honor since 1946. The shrine welcomes more than 100,000 visitors a year. So yes, she'd come to this remote place to build a safe haven for children, often orphaned when their minor fathers were killed. During the construction of this property in Golden, they needed a source of fresh water to quench their thirst, and those waters Mother Cabrini coaxed into flowing, and those waters she coaxed into flowing continue on today. It was time for me to climb the steps to the sacred heart of this place. Up I went. Every 25 steps or so was a mosaic that depicted a moment in the crucifixion of Jesus. It was an emotional hike up the peak. At the top was a 360-degree view of Jefferson County, a stunning heart formed from rose quartz and clear quartz that Mother Cabrini herself had collected and arranged roughly 100 years prior. On my descent, I overheard a father and a son. The boy looked to be about 15, and the conversation was one-sided. It was a lecture about it not being too late to change his ways, redirect his life onto a better path. I smiled and hoped the words sunk in as I passed them. A gust of wind blew up the stairs, clearing out the energy of the past that clung to the boy. It felt cleansing, and it felt infused with love. In the car, I knew a parking spot was not yet available to me for the geological location at Red Rocks, so I set the GPS for another location I wanted to experience, Morrison Cemetery. If you remember my Red Rocks episode, this is the cemetery where legendary promoter Barry Fay wished to be buried, but because he wasn't a resident of Jefferson County, he could not lay at rest here. Even the Colorado governor's appeals didn't matter. The cemetery road is unmarked because the property is privately held, and they most likely want to dissuade vandals. I parked up the road and hiked in, paying my respects to every tombstone as I passed. 2 mockingjays squawked at me back and forth, back and forth. I was the trespasser. They were in the branches of a thirsty tree above. I circled the cemetery, setting benches upright that had fallen over in a recent windstorm. Once back at my car, I told the spirits goodbye and reminded them that they needed to remain there. No hitchhikers, please. A gust of wind blew past, knocking my father's hat from my head. I gathered it up and set it in the passenger's seat. Finally, the time was right to return to the smidge of a parking lot. I aimed my car for West Alameda and up I went, finding not one but 2 empty spaces. The site closest to the parking lot was a bit of a disappointment. If you were new to Colorado, then it'd be chock full of juicy tidbits about dinosaurs, an ancient ocean on the site, all that. But I've been actively learning this place, so I didn't find anything new. Then I heard the blast of a bugle. I looked past the parking lot and there was a boy with his father. They were taking turns playing a bugle as they returned to their car from a more rugged, steep hike. That had to be the place I'd read about. I crossed the lot and went up, a gust of wind at my back. I had the trail to myself, sunny and warm. I barely noticed my prior 3 walks knotting up my hammies and continued up, turning on the Ghost app on my phone. I saw that I had not just one, but 2 guides up the trail. 2 strong orbs were directly in front of me the entire time. I stopped here and there. I took photos of the places I knew. I actually felt it in my bone marrow, were portals. I didn't dare step into them because I couldn't be lost to physics for days or years. I had pets to feed, a cat to medicate down the hill. Why was I so tuned in to the other side on this hike? Was it the sacred spring water in my blood? What was happening? I asked my guides and they gave me words like mighty, moment, balance, wild, missing, musical, and courage. As I neared the final stairs up to the spot I'd craved seeing for a good month, I saw they were sheathed in compact snow and ice. I might be able to make it up, but I'd most likely fall on my face on the way back down. I told the spirits, "Thank you for accompanying me, but I am going to turn around now." I assured them I'd be back once a true spring thaw freed the stairs. My Ghost app said, "Press further." I told them no, that I had animals relying on me at home. I couldn't risk not being there for them. The guides were funny because they said, "Courage." They promised me a meal and finally the piece de resistance, coffee, which made me howl with laughter. Nice try, but I will see you in a few weeks, I told them. And I also said maybe my eldest could come along. And they said busy, eager, mathematics, engineer, which was all accurate except they'd forgotten artist. As I reversed the path back to my car, I passed a giant sandstone formation and I said to myself, "This is special." And I asked, "What is this?" The Ghost app said, "Library," and I broke out in goosebumps. I laid a hand on the stone and thought about the Akashic records, a bit of amber I was given as a child, and then a gust of wind blew my father's hat from my head. To my direct left was a deep gully, but the spirits had caught the hat in a low bush, saving me the heartache of losing this precious bit of my father. I thanked them and then went home to take care of Cooper and Opal. That night, I dreamt I returned to Mother Cabrini's peak. I walked the museum with her behind me, and I saw a chunk of what seemed unremarkable rock on the floor. I picked it up and I said, "Crystallized tree." And she smiled. She explained that this was the part of the spring story no one knew. When she struck the stone, it instantly petrified some nearby trees in the vicinity. She explained that the roots of the tree had drawn water up to them, and when she prayed and struck the stone to start the spring, the water had been retrained, taught to rise up to create a spring, and that had turned the trees to stone. Some days later, my eldest sent me information on petrified wood. I'll read you a bit. It's a member of the quartz family. The organic wood substance has been replaced by silicone. Petrified wood is a stone of patience, of slow, steady growth toward the goal of spiritual transformation. It helps the spine and bones. Petrified wood can be helpful for past life recall and is especially useful for grounding insights one gains from experiencing these memories. It specifically helps turn one's past weaknesses into strength, just as mortal wood has been transformed into an immortal stone. It can be used to view the Akashic records. It wasn't until that evening, or rather early morning, 2:22 a.m. to be exact, that I woke up and realized I'd made a promise to review Molly's work in progress, her angel cards. That's when I learned the glow of a laptop in a bed filled with cat and dog and me. The cherubim send their love, making their presence known in gusts of wind. They'd been with me all day, and as the realization hit, the deep knowing that I'd been held in love all day by angels, the wind blew through the treetops out the window. The rest of the week has unfolded in a way that leaves me gobsmacked, okay? The culmination of my passion, my works, my desire to share stories that need to be told is growing into something wondrous in the future. I'm really glad I'm not alone on this journey. I've never been, and I am grateful for you that you are with me on this strange, beautiful, rocky path. I couldn't take the next step without you. Thank you for listening to Curious Cat. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite listening app, and if you love the content, recommend us to a friend. Until next time, stay curious. I love you.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.